Hi, my name is Melanie and welcome to my channel, Mel's Thing at YouTube. Hope everyone's having a great day. May something 18/17/2024. So I got a bunch of projects I'm working on, and I have some other took a little break, little space from my last videos to now, and I've been working on some videos trying to decide what am I going to do. So I'm probably going to upload these sometime next week, and there might be an older video that I've uploaded that's a longer video about these crochet projects. So I started this project, right? It was a scarf, and I'm running behind on my projects. I'm just absolutely running behind in terms of seasonally. But here in Toronto, we haven't had much warm. It hasn't been warm that long. It's like we kind of just went from a milder winter weather, a couple of weeks maybe of spring, somewhere into spring, summerish. So, excuse me. All right. So I got kind of a little bit behind on my winter projects, which is okay because I can always use it for next winter, right? October, November. In Toronto, we got a pretty cold winter. It's cold for quite some time, okay? But it's not as cold as January and February, but you know, April, kind of rickety winter. So I had started this project. It's a knitted project. If you're local, I don't know if you find these anywhere else. The yarn label is Knit It. And I bought this at Dollarama, and it's a garter stitch, size 8 knitting needles, and I worked it on straights. I worked the garter stitch on straight knitting needles. So I knit 2. So this is how the pattern worked out. This is what the yarn looks like. Gorgeous. 100% acrylic, I think. Or is it polyester? I think it's acrylic. 100%. I used 8 knitting needles. These are plastic, straight knitting needles. These are plastic. And I decided to go with the straights because it was closer to a size I have for the size or the width of the yarn. And that's what that's looking like right there. So I wanted to have a plain garter stitch scarf, and it's really a nice knit to do, especially if I'm using a variegated type yarn, commercial. Bought at the Dollarama, worked out really nicely. I have quite a few balls of this, and reasonably priced, and it works out like looking like this. And I absolutely love it the way it is. I was going to put a hood on it. I decided not to. So I am knitting the garter stitch hat. No brim, just the garter stitch hat. And I haven't sewn in the ends yet, but this is how it looks up close, okay? This is the garter stitch up close. It's maybe about 25 stitches, maybe that's what it is. 8mm knitting needles. Really enjoyed working on these heavier plastic knitting needles, the straights, instead of the circulars. I actually, unbeknownst to me, ended up being really kind of like a nice knitting tool to work with. And kind of like they're just heavy enough, but not too light. So the heavier plastic. So this is how the scarf looks coming around, and I really wanted it to be long. That was the whole goal of this, right? The acrylic's pretty light weight in warmth, but then garter stitch gives it a little bit more warmth, and then just having it long enough to wrap around for the winter time, right? Or spring, what's the other one? Autumn. which we don't have that long of, but actually maybe we have a little bit longer than the springtime, really. So this is how the scarf is looking. If you want to take a look at this, very reasonable project. Took you up a couple of balls. That's about as much as it took me. It's not very wide, but it has, I can wrap it around and get that, like, oh, feels warm, but only, you know, what's the test? Winter. So that's where that is. So I haven't sewn in the ends yet. So this one was something I didn't talk about before. It's just something I kind of impromptu, really, is what I call it. Like, it wasn't totally impromptu. I had the yarn for a little while, but I was like, yeah, I just want to get into it. Let me go ahead and get into the yarn. So this is actually where this is, and I kind of really wanted to share, if anybody ever wanted to just say, hey, I want a garter stitch. Maybe it's a variegated yarn, maybe it isn't, but as a variegated, the garter stitch is just beautiful, and a knit stitch is beautiful in just a variegated yarn. You know, it's like, oh, and it's just a comfortable, pleasing, super beginner friendly, but just comfortable, relaxing stitch. And if you have a variegated ball of yarn, it can come up just really beautiful. So I'm very happy with how this came out. I have enough yarn to probably do a hat and some, what are these things called? Fingerless mitts, which is probably where I'm gonna go with this. So this is gonna go like here, I guess. No brim, and then I'm going to draw a string up at the top. Not draw a string, but thread a string through, and that'll be up at the top. So I'm getting too close to the camera, I noticed this. So that's May. We're May 18th, by the way. I hope everybody is well. Things are going well for you. You're enjoying it. Here in Canada, the 24th, Victoria Day weekend. The library closed Sunday, Monday. I'm not sure about the store yet. What time it closed, or did it close today, or is it tomorrow or Monday? Because I haven't checked. But that is the scarf. The tension isn't too. You see, it's just, I'm stretching it. Fun stuff. Recommend the garter stitch and variegated yarns. Totally recommend. Let me get to the next project. So the other project I've been working on is the Delicious Yarns Superwash Merino. The yarn store for Toronto is Romney, and and this is how this project came out. Okay, this is a seed stitch, 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, and it's one of those hand painted kind of yarns, Delicious Yarns. I think it's about 310 yards, am I right, or 320 yards for the skein. Beautiful, and it was reasonable, $20. Okay, it was reasonable. You get superwash merino, the kind of this hand dyed, hand painted kind of vibe. This is really reasonable, 320 yards, but I wanted to see how the design came out with the hand-painted yarns and the seed stitch. The seed stitch really just created the design, okay? This is what I love about this type of yarn. Like, if I was going to buy a bolt of fabric, and there's the pattern on it, but I'm going through, here it is, there's the seed stitch, there's about the width of it, which looks even wider on the camera, and this is the design way up close, totally blocking me out of it. Coming back, and here is the scarf. So I decided to make a skinny scarf. It's fun. I've enjoyed it. I said in my last video, if I upload it, it was 200 something yards, but I corrected it, so it's 310, or is it 20? I got the label right there. And the seed stitch, not the linen stitch, or is it the moss stitch? Oh, never mind. Okay, so it's got a little crochet dictionary in here. Okay, So I think this is the seat stitch. Is it? Okay. I have this old-timey book right here, okay? I got one of these books in my, I think it was early 20s. This was at Value Village. I got that again. I was like, oh my goodness. I got my book back. It was wonderful. And this stitch is not in there. It's Crochetpedia, right? But this is how the design came up. From stitching that particular crochet stitch. Not from any other thing. I didn't move the yarns. I didn't do anything. I just crocheted it, and needless to say, it just created an absolutely gorgeous design. And this is the part where you see it's a bit thicker here. Some people might call that the pooling. I absolutely love that. I love it. It just gives it a totally like energy, right? So the yarn itself, as I just crocheted it, made the design. I crocheted the seat stitch, or is it the moss stitch? Single crochet, chain one, single crochet, chain one, into the chain one space. So I just made the design on its own. I would recommend this for garments all day long, the seat stitch. I really would, if you want a flatter fabric for your garments. If you'd like a flatter fabric for your garments, this is, or your blankets, or whatever else, but for me, I would mainly say garments. If you really wanted a flatter fabric for your garment, a more flat effect, this stitch is really, it can really do that, okay? It could really, really totally do that. This is a more hand-painted yarn type of deal. And this is, you know, they come in the skeins. You gotta, if you don't have a ball winder, you gotta wind it up yourself. And this is one of the things why I'm like, let's talk about hand-painted and variegated type yarns, because they're really helpful, and they do a lot without you having to do a lot. Unless you want to do a lot, okay? So usually with like I was saying before, because this is not the first time I'm recording this video, usually with hand-painted variegated yarns, like most of the time the color, depending on how often the color spools, right? See, you'll get like these blocks of constant color, okay? You might get these blocks of constant color, but they'll just have mainly the like what I call that variegated type look. You might be able to distinguish a bit of a design or a constant repeat of the pattern. If you take a look there, that's when I'm bringing it back. But it doesn't necessarily become distinctly a pattern, right? And that's good, because, I mean, that's what I'm looking for with this. There's a pattern of the variegations, but it's not per se distinct. You know, the colors that come up and how they dye them. Whereas with this, with the seat stitch, and I use this seat stitch on the skinny scarf, I think this is gummy bear is what they call it. This became a very distinct pattern. I don't know if it would have done that with other crochet stitches, but that's what it did with this. And just the pattern just became really distinct. Excuse me, sorry. The pattern just became really, really distinct. And this is more that hand-painted yarn. I don't know if it's sock size. I don't think, maybe it is. I use a 3.5 millimeter hook, seat stitch. This is about 20 stitches, 25 stitches. Same thing. This is a commercial yarn. I think it was Lion Brand, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's if it's still continued or not. It's probably discontinued. But this is a variegated yarn. Okay, it doesn't have the hand painted vibe or anything, right? This is a synthetics yarns. This is animal hair. This is superwash merino animal hair. This is an acrylic, you know. So the only one that's animal based is this tealish cream in my hand. But when I made this shawl before, if you look at the top, these are like the 3 cluster granny stitches, right? The 3 double crochet. That ultimately is kind of like, sometimes if I use a single crochet, etc. Oh, but I do have an example. Hold on. Okay, I moved up the camera a little bit. So with this yarn, with this is variegated, commercially done. Okay, if you look at this, I mean, if you just manage to have some extra yarns, or you see some variegated yarns, thrifting is well worth the, I would say, the experiment, if you'd like. You know, it's well worth it, because you can see here where it's the same yarn that I was using on the shawl, but here it created a certain design on the shawl with this double crochets where I'm pointing now. But the top portion where I'm pointing is single crochet back and forth in rows, where the variegated looks like is just creating that variegated color, texture. Not so much a design, even though you would have to look for it to see there's a design. Top part single crochet back and forth in rows. Whereas when I went to the triple crochets, second portion of the shawl, you can see it's like, I'm telling you, they have a life of their own, these yarns. You can see where the triple crochets is actually creating, I guess the word is textile. Is it textile? An actual design, where it's not so much just like variegated color blocking. The triple crochets are actually making, you know, a design. Like you could go buy a bolt of fabric that looks something as such. And then here I widened the single crochets. I didn't widen it, it's just in making the shawl. And you can see where it's a little bit more, a design is forming, right? But it still, to me, has a bit of that variegated look. Like, okay, but you know, you could find anything in the art where you see the variegation is here. I went back to the single crochet where I'm got my fingers, and you can see because I have more stitches at this point on the shawl, you can see where it's, the variegation is a little clearer, and it looks sort of designish, definitely, but in my opinion more distinct with the triple crochets. And here is the triple crochets again where I'm pointing at, and then there's the single crochets. So a lot of times the variegations can come up sort of looking like this as a commercial variegation, right? But if you work the stitches a little bit, maybe you get something different. And so this is where this is coming up with something a little bit more like, what is you trying to say something? Is this a design or something? What is this? Looks almost like there's little arrows right here, or bends or swirls, and this is where I would say that I added in this cotton here in the peach, and then I added this blue cotton, and the rest of it is in the variegated. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes the budget, and if you want to just go ahead and go with something a lot more variegated, then that could be really budget friendly. Yeah, I'm talking money. Again, that could be really budget friendly. So I don't have to go out and buy 5 to 10 skeins of yarn to create a design with certain stitches and certain colors. The variegated came to do the work. The variegated yarn doing the job for me. So the only thing I really got to do is maybe I have some extra yarn. If I want to put some other yarn in, if I want to get fancy and add some other colors or whatever else, yeah, I could do all that, right? But the variegated is doing the work. I just got to do the stitch manipulation. I don't have to get into 5, 6, 7, 8 skeins of yarn per pattern if I'm not in the mood to do that, and I'm wanting to be very budget friendly to myself. And this is why I would suggest, hey, let's say you want to check out, maybe I'm going to make a shawl. Maybe I'm going to make a scarf. You go check out patterns. You want to go ahead and put out 5 different color skeins. Yeah, cool. That's good. That's what you're doing for right now. But let's say you're like, yeah, I want to do that, but I don't want to. Girl, we got the books coming up and all that stuff for the kids. Okay, cool. You get yourself a ball of variegated yarn. Play with the stitch work. There goes a nice shawl, a nice scarf, and just suggesting options and possibilities, okay? That you can now say, yeah, well, maybe I can get a little something, and tailored and fancy to the way I like and what I like, and then I can turn around and say, yeah, that didn't cost me 4 or 5 balls each color to get something I want to get. And I'm interested in all possibilities and all options for anyone to want to crochet, enjoy, have what they have, and just like it, and make it fit within your budget. People got children and all kind of stuff there, right? And they want to do something. So you just make that stuff fit in your budget so it helps out. And if you don't got kids, well, you just make that stuff fit in your budget and you get a lot of bang for your buck. That's the beauty of the variegation. But what I'm learning is you got to really work with the stitches, right? To see how it's going to give you what you want to look. Or not even, it's not even that much work, really. It's just like, okay, let me try some single crochets. Let me try some double. Let me try some half doubles or triples. Ta-da, I'm done. I see what I like, and that's it. So that's the same thing with something like this. Like, you know, you just get a lot of bang for the buck. It's just the one ball of yarn, a pair of plastic knitting needles, at the Dollarama. They come in the pack. I met a lady the other day at the Dollarama, or I think Michael, she was saying, I went to the Dollarama, I didn't see any crochet hooks. I was like, I know, because I've been looking for them still too, but that's how Dollarama is. Things come in, they have it there for a while, and then the things come back around again. So, you know, they change out their retail stuff, which I kind of like, but you got to keep your eye on them, like the thrift store. Okay, if I don't see it then, it will come back up in a few months probably, the item I'm looking for. So this is, yet again, I didn't have to go out and buy this color, or this color, or this color, or this color, or this color, and change rows every other color, or every color, change the rows, change the color. Did you follow that? I just, ta-da, beautiful. And when I'm in the mood to do that, and I want something, you know, more, just tailored to my taste, or what I'm doing for the project, then okay, right? But when I don't want to, it's beautiful, okay? This is like, yeah, and it can be very budget friendly. It definitely can be. So this is the one skein of yarn. I didn't have to buy 3 different colors. It doesn't, when you buy 3 or 4 separate colors, obviously you have more flexibility, so there's some trust you gotta put into what's this variegated gonna look like, what's this hand painted yarn. I think this hand painted delicious yarns, Romney wools. I think it's going to you know, so there's some limitations, unlike if you go out and buy all those separate colors, there's way less limitations, but I would say very few, because if you were to look at the 1,000,001 crochet stitches, this might look different for the 1,000,001 crochet stitches every single pattern. So as a hand painted or variegated yarn, well, I didn't have to go out and spend any more on this right now. Sometimes it's like that for me, sometimes it's not like that for me. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, this gonna work. Just one skein of yarn. I think this is called the seed stitch, single crochet, 1 chain, single crochet into the next chain, 1 space, 1 chain, and lots and lots of bang for my buck. And this is where treats, if you will, this like splurge for me. Super Merino wash and some expensive acrylics are what I call splurges. If I don't get them at the thrift store, if they don't show up there, they're financial splurges. But I don't have to spend any more money. I don't have to go find 3 or 4 colors and try and figure out a crochet design like this or anything. It's just, if I just get the stitches a certain way that I want to see, that's it. Done. It's amazing. It really is. The yarn and the yarn designers do so much for you. And that's kind of the love of that. It just does a lot of things for you. And these kind of little accessories, in my opinion, go really nicely with plain shirts or plain stuff. And they go nicely mixed with other patterns too. But they definitely go nicely with plain tops. Like if you had, like, I don't know, is it black or a blue top or maybe a brown or a white? I don't know. This probably could go with a lot of stuff. And this scarf that I have on now, does this give you an idea of that? It's pretty warm. And it is pretty much the way I wanted it to be, right? So, because what I've been really learning is winter can have a lot of different days to it. One winter day, you're like, okay, as long as the wind's not blowing, this scarf gonna work. Or this scarf worked for the morning. This heavier scarf is working for the same day in the afternoon. I've been carrying my stuff with me, girl. I got a little buggy because I don't own a car, and I carry my stuff with me. I carry my stuff more and more with me. I carry some, not all the time, but I carry some stuff in the morning for, it seemed like it's going to be this weather, and in my buggy I carry in something that's just in case it gets heavier. So it really is, because I'm not trying to be cool like that. I'm not trying to go out looking cool and I'm cold. Not me. Okay? When you go through that young Tommy stage, or maybe a little older even, you're still in that. That's for you to do, God bless. But I'm not going outside looking cold, feeling cold, just so I look cool and everything kind of just look okay. And then somewhere in the morning, it got hot. It's a warm winter day. And then somewhere towards the afternoon, it's a super freezing. And I'm still in the same stuff. When I know that's what's going to happen, I'm prepared. I'm not cool like that, you know. I look at any old way. I'm like, I am not cool like that. It's like I will move my clothes and my garments around and be there like over. If it's even too warm outside, I might have on an extra layer of clothes, because I'm just not cool like that. Okay, I'm just not. But I do think I'm going to get cool like that eventually if I have enough garments or accessories per the day and the weather, because the weather change here, it's gotten very like temperamental, the weather here, you know. So it could be nice and cold winter day and it warms up as a colder winter day, then it gets even super colder, and then all of a sudden it's a warmer winter day. Like, I need 2, 3, 4 hats just going out for the daytime, because I go out all day, mostly. I go outside, I'm out all day. So this just gives you so much bang for your buck. Oh, how much did you pay? $20 for the skein. Exceptional price, in my personal opinion. Really exceptional. And you're like, oh, did you crochet a scarf for $20? Yes, treat yourself. Okay? I got these little folks that talk to me. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, by the way. And how could you spend $20 on a scarf? So, whether it's acrylic or anything else, plant-based, treat yourself. Treat yourself. It's something you want to buy. Okay? Treat yourself. You're okay. It's okay. You're allowed. I give you permission. Huh? I give you permission. Treat yourself to something nice that you want. You'd be like, oh, I can't. It's too expensive. Blah, blah, blah. Just treat yourself. All right? I've been figuring that one out my whole life. Do I deserve this? Should I buy this? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, Melanie, get over this. You can start to treat yourself. Loops and thread, flex. Acrylic blend, 355 yards, 5mm crochet hook, recommended. That's how I'm making this one. Okay. It definitely doesn't, it's not a winter fabric per se, but it feels very warm. Single crochet, work in progress, pending, and I'm almost there. I've had to mix the two balls. One thrifted, the other two I went and bought at Michael's. And it's Michael's. It's not Michael's Arts and Crafts. It's Michael's. But if you go into Google search engine and you're looking for an arts and crafts place named Michael's, I would suggest you put Michael's Arts and Crafts in there, because a whole lot of things in the Google search engine comes up under Michael's. So I guess they rebranded and it's no longer Michael's Arts and Crafts, it's Michael's. But I would suggest, if you're looking for Michael's Arts and Crafts in the Toronto area, put in Michael's Arts and Crafts in the Google search engine or whatever search engine you use. So this is my shawl that I'm working on. Pending, work in progress, whips, triangular shawl, crochet. One of the balls I got thrifted, realized it looked like it's a current yarn that's at Michael's, and it is, and went and got 2 more balls to start with this. Yet again, here's the yarn up close. Here's the single crochet. I'm not looking for a lot of drape on this. I want it to feel thicker, less lacy or holes in the fabric, and I wanted to just like really just feel like I'm like in the yarn. Like, okay, it's exactly how I want it. I don't want it to have too much drape at all. And this is, if you come up close, single crochet, that's how it looks. I love this. I'm considering in the flex loop and threads doing a garment, crocheting a garment. Another one, they have grays, they have pinks, they have other colors, not just this cream. And another, a lot of bang for your buck. I treated myself to these balls right here. Okay, so one $7.99 I think, or was it $6.99? And the other ball the same thing, but the thrifted yarn was a few bucks. So I put it out there to get a bigger shawl. Okay, all right. This ain't the frugal, cheap Mel's things or Mel's thing, but it's also like, yeah, if you need to keep an eye on your money, but you still want to go ahead and more so because of whatever, you still want to go ahead and, you know, get something you might really like that kind of maybe falls within, I guess, whatever this kind of style is, okay, that I'm showing you. But this another one, you'll get a lot of bang for your buck. And I would even suggest to you that if you is an itty bit, I'm not petite. My size is not petite. But let's say you are, you know, on the medium to small or small, and you just wanted to go up a crochet hook size, you could probably do a tank or a short, very short sleeve. I can't remember what it's called again. Or a cropped. And if you were tiny or petite to small, you could probably get a top out of the 3 balls. Okay, you could probably get a top out of the 3 balls. You probably could. I, on the other hand, can't do that on 3 balls at 300. I would probably need a 4th one because the yardage is 355 yards. I recommend 5 millimeter. I would say you could go 5.5, depending on how tight your tension is, probably a 6. So if you wanted to do something cropped, or you were, you know, or if I even wanted to do something cropped with a crop sweater with, shorter sleeves, or a tank or top or a vest, 3 balls probably do you well. And they go $21, $22. If you don't find it thrifted. And you don't have to buy a whole bunch of colors. It's the same color. And this is the same ball that's doing this, right? So this is why some of the reasons. I love patterned yarn, and I love solid yarns. So this is one of the reasons, though, I just want to share this so much. Because if you like patterned fabrics, but you know, you got to kind of figure it out. And then you're putting off projects, because I've done that. I'll put off projects because it's like, well, I'm going to have to buy this color, and then I'm going to have to buy 2, 3 of this color, and I'm going to have to buy 2, 4 of this color, and it adds up, but you have a lot of yarn left over, but it adds up financially. So I'm like, you know, this will do me fine till I am prepared to put X amount of money aside for a more expensive project. And I love the variegated yarns just as much as I love the solid yarns that I put together to create the color coordinations. So this works for me. So I would love to share it with anyone. Maybe it will work for them, and they might like, you know, it's just good to see, right? So all right, hold on. Work in progress. Oh boy, oh, constantly with that. Excuse me. This is a cardigan to be in the basic granny square. I kind of loosened my tension a little bit on this one, so the squares came out a little bit wider, and the way I joined is a smoother join, not as ridged. This one I'll get to, but this is the back portion that I've started, and hopefully, you know, I'm like, how does that happen? I want to bring this up really, really closely. On the right side, on the left side, your left, where I'm pointing to is 100% acrylic, and on the other side is 100% animal hair. This is I guess you could call it, what, acrylic or synthetic? And this is the animal hair. And when I finish this cardigan, work in progress, I plan to bring this around and see how it looks with this. And let's bring it up close and let's look at it. How happy am I with 100% animal hair with 100% synthetic brand, or whatever you call acrylic? I'm happy with it. I am. Okay, I'm happy with it. I don't see any reason why I don't see any reason why anyone can't mix them. I'm like, go ahead, mix it. I'm gonna mix the yarns. I don't see any reason why I can't, unless I just don't like how it turns out. I just don't see the reason to mixing, not being scared to mix these yarns together, and also have acrylic blends with wools and all these different types of fiber that makes up your fair share of either leaning towards plant-based or animal-based, or leaning towards the acrylics and its friends, you know. So I'm totally okay, I myself personally, but I really wanted to share this and coming up real close so that, you know, maybe if you are interested and you have some animal-based hair stuff, but you want to, but you got acrylic, but you don't know how that gonna really go, well, I'm putting it up really close, so hopefully you'll get or you might want to buy some acrylic, or you're done with your plant animal hair, or whatever your thing may be. And I'm like, well, let's see how it works, right? Because I'm like, I'm gonna do this, so let's see. So if you can see it, then maybe you'll be like, okay. So I just putting out the work in progress on this project with the scarf to give you the share on, did you like that? Maybe it's something you would consider, or you've already considered, but here's an example for you, or a sample of this what it look like on the camera. And these colors are very accurate right now. Oh my God, it's a miracle. The colors are super accurate to the camera right now. Okay. Anyway, that's it for the work in progress. I don't know if I'm going to keep this one. And I do have a couple other ones, but that's on the next videos. This is where I'm at. I'm obviously running late from winter because it's May 18th or something like that, 2024. Happy Victoria Day. That's a holiday up here in Canada. And yeah, have a great one. Enjoy. Take care. God bless. Bye for now.